While it is undoubtedly early days, desperately early, some might say, I'm ready to nominate my daftest story of the year for 2018. It is the absurd advertising campaign launched this month seeking to encourage potential recruits with emotional frailty to join the army. Now, what do you suppose is the purpose of an army? It is to fight, to defend, to kill, and to sometimes endure conditions, engage in and witness events that we cannot imagine in our darkest nightmares. It might well be an unpalatable truth, but this country sometimes relies on hard men and women to protect us or fight for us. Anyone with emotional problems needs help. They don't need to be on the front line, and no one benefits from vulnerable people being there. Not them, not the army, and certainly not their comrades who could be relying on them for their very lives.
Nick, I looked at all these ads. I actually thought it was quite a clever campaign.
Well, you might.
I did. I think, I mean, because the ad, then that's only one of a series of ads. I mean, the Army's got a problem. They're losing 10,000 people a year and they're not recruiting enough. They're 3,000 down in total, and they're looking at other ways of getting people to join. Seems to me that's quite a good idea. I mean, what would I sell if I was knowing people who got into the Army as privates? And I said, well, what would I sell? I'd sell, we look after you.
Yes.
We're your family, you know, and for a lot of people coming from quite difficult families, going into the Army is a solution.
Yeah.
It gives them the friendship and the families they haven't got.
I'll come back to you in a second. For those who haven't seen the ad, for those who haven't seen, because I know you have, let's actually watch it.
The Army is family. I've probably told them things I wouldn't even tell my own family. There's always someone there to talk to, or even just make you laugh.
You don't like that ad, Nick?
I don't.
I've got one that you're going to love.
I want to
Have
see
a look at this. It's for the Chinese army.
我叫刘金怡，很多人知道我是一名特种兵，但很少有人知道我是从地方大学入。
Well, I know which one I choose. Back to you. But you see, I wasn't in the Army. My dad was in the Army because he came from the generation when you didn't have a choice. He was called up. And when he spoke about it, which wasn't a great deal, it was quite tough. And I think that's what soldiering is. And it is not somewhere where, if you have problems, you want to put that bloke or woman on the front line in Helmand Province watching his friends being blown apart. It's not going to work, Greg.
Well, you know, the ad agency who put this out, they're called Karma Rama, which says it all to me. Their watchword is good karma. There's not much good karma on the killing fields of Afghanistan or Iraq. But and the thing that really, I think they're patronising, but the part that really I thought was insulting to soldiers was that there was a quote about bonding, about how it's all about bonding, and it says, this ad promotes the notion of belonging to a brotherhood, a sisterhood, and forming powerful bonds. Have these guys ever talked to a soldier who's ever been in combat? Because the bottom line is that the one thing they all have is this unbreakable bond that they're prepared to die for each other on the battlefield.
I think you're fundamentally misunderstanding the point of this.
I'm not misunderstanding
the point of this is for people who haven't been in the army, don't know what it's like, who are trying to communicate what people...
But they don't want people who need to be talking about emotional problems. You know,
Nick said you don't want people with problems. How many people do you know who have no problems?
How many people have no problems?
How many people have no problems?
There's me.
The point is,
cost 1.6 million quid. Do you know what an army recruit gets paid in training? 14.5 grand. When they're trained, they get 80 grand. Maybe that's the reason why not so many people are joining the army. Because the pay is pretty.
Are so unreconstructed. Masculinity has changed.
Right.
You can be a man and have problems and fight.
But
and by the way,
I don't want you on the front line.
Yes, gender has changed. There are women in the army now too.
I said hard men and women. I said hard men and hard women. Michelle.
I want to make 2 points.
Good.
My first one is I could have saved them that over £1 million because they're putting this recruitment campaign out to try and recruit because their numbers are failing. One of the reasons that their number is failing is because the way we treat our ex-servicemen and women returning back into this country is an absolute... it's disgusting.
Yes.
It's shameful. We do not look after people. So, to your second point about being mentally strong, everybody has mental health, whether you're man, woman, old or young, and that mental health is something that's non-guaranteed. It's fragile and it can change at any point in time. So there's no such thing as you are a strong person, so you can go in that box and you're weak and you can go in over there. What we do and the way that we treat people that we ask to risk their life to protect us, we treat them badly. We do not look after them when they come back. And if the army want to start recruiting people, they must sort that out, because it is shame on
One of the reasons we have a recruiting
that.
problem is because we keep successive governments keep on cutting the numbers. Every year they cut massive amounts from the ranks, from the army, from the navy, from the RAF. Can I just bring in this graphic to show how many we have now, how many soldiers we have now? 70. Now, what we need is 82,000 to be a fighting force. We have less soldiers in the army now since the Napoleonic Wars. We haven't had so few since then. And the reason we haven't is because, one, you say we're not treating them right, two, we don't pay them properly, and three, we're getting rid of them all.
All right, Greg.
No, I don't think that's true. They want 82,000. They can't recruit them.
No,
10,000 left last year. 9,000 joined. What they're trying to do is get more people in. They've obviously gone to an agency and said, all right, find out, do the research, find out why people don't want to join the army.
Well, they're
cutting numbers to save money.
No, let me finish. They've done the piece of research. They said, look, there's a set of reasons. This is what we think they are. Now, actually, in amongst them, I suspect quite high, is the fact we've got fairly full employment. And historically, when kids couldn't get jobs, they joined the army.
But every year...
Kids from the North East joined the army.
They did. But every year the government cuts numbers to save money from the military. They're cutting the army's, what do you call it, force this year? The force that goes onto water and everything. They're cutting the Navy. They're cutting the RAF to save cash.
But you and Michelle are kind of saying similar things. And I agree with you both. There's no point putting out flashy ads if the root cause is that you don't treat people properly, and if you don't have more money to treat them properly. And then it's misleading to recruitment. And my only worry about this ad, which I personally think is good, I think it is appealing to a new demographic of potential recruits.
The army bosses don't. They think it won't appeal to the very people who are likely to join the army.
Unreconstructed.
Which army bosses are you talking about?
A guy called
Richard Kemp.
Yes.
Sure.
Richard
Here we go.
Every journalist has got
we've got it here.
Respect
army guy
commander of the British Army in Afghanistan.
He was on television all last week.
He's not now.
But
he's
my
gone.
God, Greg, you know
Are you telling me that the
matters
army didn't approve these ads?
Well, of course they
But it's politically correct nonsense.
Let's hear from this guy, this Colonel Richard Kemp. Yeah, because he has sent a message. My main problem with this is the Army's limited advertising budget is being squandered on a campaign that will not help make up the 4,000 plus deficit in manpower, which is the priority of demonstrating how tolerant it is of minorities, and I hope I'm wrong.
But what's that based on? How does he know that?
Why does he know that?
Hang on, I think
he's an army colonel.
Unless he's saying they don't want to recruit minorities.
If you won't listen to me, the army, like the rest of the government, says Colonel Kemp, is being forced down a route of political correctness. What is most important is the army is full of soldiers. It's of secondary importance. They reflect the composition of society.
Hold the front page.
Here's some more.
So you know better than a colonel.
Military man does not want to broaden the
You know better than a colonel, do you?
What does he know about
And I'm not being sucky-uppy to a colonel. You know better than he does.
On what basis can he tell whether that will appeal?
Nick, you've been a journalist for years. Every journalist has got someone like him they can phone up to get that sort of quote. I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it.
We've got 6 of them here to quote if you want.
Sure, but here you've got the army who've done a piece of research, I've no doubt, and said, look, we're trying to get different people. Right. And we'll run this. They'll find out whether it works or not. It's as simple as that.
But there's an advert.
Their problem is going to be partly is full employment.